Wow, it's yet another beautiful Friday. My name is Johnson Mwakazi, and this is Friday with Mr. B. Absolutely. B standing for Mr. Beeden. Beeden. Things must be done in a particular way so that we're able to be proud of being Kenyan, so that we take part in the process of making Kenya a better country. We're talking to a journalist of over 30 years. Now, this is not a journalist who just sat down, wrote stories, or presented information. No, he was at the very center of bringing change, transformation to the Kenyan environment. And that saw him spend time in prison during the Moi regime, fighting against corruption in the judiciary. And for him, it was because he loved Kenya. Just because of the love he had for Kenya. And he still has that love even today. And that's why every Friday he is here to tell us more, to challenge us, you and I, to really rise up and take charge and make Kenya a better country. Mr. B, it's always an honor. It's always an honor. Awesome.
Yes.
Last time we were talking about health, and we saw, I'm sure you saw what he did. Amazing, challenging us really to realize there is really a lot we can do to our bodies, for our bodies, so that we become very fruitful.
Yes.
You know, Bwana B, we've been talking about corruption.
Yes.
And anytime you talk about corruption, there's a feeling that corruption really is a privilege of those in high office, the government corruption. But let's demystify this corruption. Let's understand it. Layman's perspective, what is corruption?
Yeah. I think I want to make it very simple today. Allow me, because of my medical background, which I don't use as much, let's take corruption as hookworms. Because they are parasites which eat people from within. There is no parasite, hookworm, for big people who are managing directors, or for the guy who is a sweeper. Hookworm is a hookworm. And there are times you may see somebody very senior, and if he has hookworms, you don't see like it's a serious matter. But if it's a guy who is sweeping, you feel like, this is like a disease of the poverty, a situation. So I want to define corruption as, it is the same, like I have said. It is a parasite that is eating us from within, whether you are down there or whether you are up there.
You know, Mr. B, all right. When somebody looks at it from that perspective, they would want to imagine corruption in high office costs the country millions, even billions of shillings.
Yes.
But my simple corruption will not cost me a lot. It will not even cost the person I am dealing in corruption with a big deal. So how can you compare the two scenarios?
Let's imagine you go to the office today and the person tells you, give me only 1,500 to get you a photocopy of the document of whatever in their file. And those small people, the people who are working at that level, say there are 1 million people in Kenya. And they are all taking 1,500.
Hey, that's already $1 billion.
Yeah. So, if you look at that guy at the top, who has also taken, probably, he has taken 200 million. But the ones you are saying they are small, the number of people doing that, they are very many. So this is why I said I want to compare it with the hookworm.
It's everywhere.
There is
The
no
big, small.
hookworm for that big guy or this. There is no corruption for that big guy or this small guy. And if we start to look at that guy who is small, it can be very, very serious because if, for instance, is a woman, a single woman who doesn't have even employment and is going to get a birth certificate of the child and is asked to pay 2,000 shillings, you can say why it is serious is because it is a victim asking another victim. Yeah? This guy who is employed there as a sweeper in the government office is also having very little salary and is poor like this woman who has come with a baby. When a victim is exploiting another victim, that is very serious.
Very, very serious indeed. I want us to get to the practicals, scenarios that you and I have had,
Yeah.
and perhaps look at best ways of handling such situations.
Yeah.
For instance, how would you define this situation? I went to buy some shoes, you know, like Ikomba, toy, and all that. And when I spoke to them, they told me, I mean, corruption is for the government people. And then I told them, so how do you explain a scenario where when I come to buy goods from you, that I know generally market price will go for about 500 shillings, and then you tell me it's costing 6,000 shillings? Wouldn't you define that as corruption? But the young gentleman said, it's business. I convinced you to buy this product. Yes, market price is 500, but you accepted to buy it at 6,000. Where is the corruption? Is there really corruption in that kind of situation? Is there any?
Yes, there is corruption. Because this culture of corruption, we must first understand it that it has spread everywhere in this country, like the cancer which has spread in the body, such that there is no part which does not have cancer. And so, if we are to change this country, we have to change that culture because it looks natural to some people like the one you are describing. But you are exploiting somebody. Yeah? You are exploiting somebody. And corruption is a way of exploiting people, but mainly the poor people. Because a poor person, when he takes the child to a new school, in one case, these parents went and the person in charge said had a handbag which is open. Go and put 5,000 in that handbag. Yeah? And this person has struggled to raise money from here, there, well-wishers, and then goes to school. That's what is told. Again, even worse, in that school, the teaching is very poor. So at the end of the day, again the teachers will say, those who can pay so much, we can do tuition for those who can pay. So this woman who cannot afford now, the child has not been taught well, cannot afford for this tuition. Which corruption can be worse than that? And is hating at all the time at the poor people of this country, so badly. Because it's the same person who goes to the general hospital or the local hospital and is told, no, X-ray is not working. But if you cross that road, you see that building, there are people who will charge you. Then you go there, you find you are told, oh, it is 3,000. And that facility belongs to the same people you are going to see. Then people in pharmacy, they also have created a pharmacy across the road. And when this woman goes, everything out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. How is this poor person going to survive? For her son even to be hired as a policeman is told is 150,000. Surely. That's why I say it's a big conspiracy to the poor. And then no matter what justification we bring, like the one you are getting, we must now accept it is in us, it is in our mind, it's in our heart. So the question is, how can we now change this culture?
Absolutely, and definitely we'll be looking at that. But before we take a short break, Mr. B, share with us the story of this particular time you were in Nigeria.
Yes.
And you decided to face this so-called dragon, corruption, head on. Tell us about that.
Yes, I was invited to go to Nigeria, University of Ilorin, to give a talk. So when I delivered the talk, I came back. And at the airport, there was no information of any kind.
So this is now Nigerian airport you
Lagos,
want to come back? Lagos.
Lagos.
Aha,
Yeah.
aha.
And so I tried to find when the flight, nobody's telling.
Talking.
But I can see in my flight schedule, it is this particular time. So, and everybody was seated quietly, so I sat. So, nobody said, or nobody had even a place you can read the arrival of this plane and the departure. So I just had one moment in time that the flight so-and-so is leaving in 10 minutes. And that's the flight I was booked. And we were many. We had white people, we had ourselves from Africa, we had some Indians, and so everybody panicked.
10 minutes.
And then he said, hey, Oga, if you don't have $5 US dollars, don't queue.
He was blatant.
Yeah, he was clear. So I could see even the white people who claim there is no corruption in their countries looking for $5. Everybody who pays, go in, pays, go in. And I queued like everybody else. When I got there, I said, you know, this is corruption. Simple.
Wow. Eye to eye.
Yeah.
This is corruption.
This is bribes. This is why you had starved people from any information so that you can create a crisis. They have found that corruption, people tend to create little crises, like either we are going to close this place at a certain time. And you are there and the clock is ticking, and you know you have come from Kajiado and you have not gotten whatever. So anyway, he said, hey, you think it's a joke? Just next.
So you were left aside?
Yeah. So they went like that. So I was finally left alone. And then I said, After I was left alone, I said, okay, now I'm left. I just tried to find out who was senior. And finally I got, not from that person, I asked another one. And I got to the senior person at the airport. Then I asked him who are other senior people. He said, we have general manager, we have MD. So I said, I want to see the MD. That's when the first time I gave my card that I'm editor-in-chief of newspaper here in Kenya.
Whoa, whoa.
So he took the card, and then they said, come, I saw the MD. And I explained what happened, and I told him that this airport, what is happening is corruption. There is no any other name. And this is happening to people who have decided to give you business.
Business.
Yeah.
Now, hold that thought. So Mr. B decides, and you're confirming the plane had already left
Oh, yes, completely.
because you didn't pay $5.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. B decides to go to the big man at the airport. And he doesn't go there to say, you know what, I was left behind, but he's actually attacking the system.
Yeah.
And he says, what you have done to me is actually corruption. And you're actually doing it to people who are giving you business. We want to take a short break. When we come back, he's going to finish that story. And then we're going to talk together and see how we can deal with the system, because it's already a culture, a system called corruption. So you don't want to go anywhere. Keep it Friday with Mr. B.